The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users, on demand on iTunes and on YouTube, and also on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments whether you agree with me or not. And thanks to our friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we are syndicated to about 12 million additional households across the United States. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. Welcome to the show. Today's first guest is Andrew Klavan. He has written a new book. He is an author of a number of best-selling true crime novels. This one is called Empire of Lies. It is a book about deception and a guy who was not particularly morally straight, who had a change of life, but then his past came calling him and dragging him down into a hole that, well, you have to read the book to find out whether he's able to crawl out of it. Andrew Klavan is one of those rarities in Hollywood because he doesn't get spanked by conservative talk show hosts. That's because his books, some of which have been turned into movies, including one that starring Clint Eastwood, champion conservative points of view. And that's exactly what Empire of Lies does, because this guy lived a very amoral life in New York City. Then he found God and moved to the Midwest. He embraced family values there. But his past came calling. He returned to New York to help a former lover and find a missing person. It's really a novel, of course, so it's fiction, but it's pretty much, I will tell you, he wears his conservatism on his sleeve because it spanks the news media and even the very entertainment industries which he gains his sustenance from. Andrew Klavan, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Thanks, Gary. It's good to be here.
Great to have you here. So is this book... Okay, we're getting an echo there, Alan. You're going to have to shut off the mic while I'm talking, I think. Is this book a little... obviously, you're not the guy in the book, Jason Harrow. But does this main character, Jason Harrow, follow your path a little bit? Is there a little bit of Andrew Klavan in this book?
There's always a little bit of me in every character, really. This guy is not me in any autobiographical sense. I will tell you that as I was writing the book, I came to identify with him so much. It was kind of like a Vulcan mind meld. He and I started to become as if we were one. And his journey became a little bit of my journey. It was a very wrenching book to write in that sense.
Yeah, wrenching in what respect? Because you were forced to confront yourself?
As you say, Jason is not a man with a clean past, a clean bill of health. He's not your typical hero with the square jaw and everything's all right. He's a guy who really went off the straight and narrow. And he lives with that every day. And when he goes back, even though he's straightened his life out, he's found God and he's got a family and he's living a really great life. When he goes back to the scenes of his past, it starts to catch up with him, and he starts to confront a lot of nasty things about himself. And so it was difficult in that way. Going through his past is not my past, and yet I guess there must have been enough of a correlation there to just bring up enough inner stuff to make it very difficult to write at times.
Well, Andrew Klavan, the book is obviously a thriller, and people who like the genre are going to like the book, but it's more than that. It's almost like there's a subtext here where you are preaching a form of morality one doesn't often find in this type of read.
Well, I'm a thriller writer because I love the thriller and feel it's a great vehicle, not for preaching, not for teaching lessons, but for exploring the mind, especially the American mind. And let me see if I can explain that a little bit. I think that in the old days in Europe and Britain, the kind of the social novel, if you think of Jane Austen or Charles Dickens, was the proper way of exploring a community, a country, and an area that was very unified in race, unified in values, unified in history. America isn't like that at all. America is a country that we sign on to, where we sign on to an idea, and after that, we're pretty much on our own. The idea of being an American is to find yourself as an individual and to find out what you think the truth is before your time runs out. And that's almost the definition of a thriller. It's really a story of a man trying to determine what reality is, what's real, and what's in his mind before the clock stops ticking and the bomb goes off. And so this is a novel that explores a lot of ideas. It's about a guy who starts to feel that he's unraveled a conspiracy, but he's so surrounded by a media and a culture determined to deceive him that he begins to doubt his own sanity, and that makes him explore his past. So you're seeing a lot of things. You're seeing a narrator who's not always reliable. You're seeing a series of ideas that he has and he thinks about, and you're also following the action in a race against time. So yeah, it really does have, I hope, a lot more depth than just a shoot 'em up.
Well, there's a lot of liberals in the book. You feel your character feels in the book, and I presume that this is reflective of Andrew Klavan, this part of it for sure, that liberal ideals